Welcome back to the Jesse Rucinski show. Sorry for the glitch. Yeah, literally, if you're watching the video, I have no idea. No, we are doing it again. I don't know. So if you're listening to this, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but I have no idea what's going on with this thing lately. I don't know. We got it fixed for a couple weeks. Nothing's different. And it still sucks. But as I digress, the microphone still works. So if you're listening to this, go watch it. Just the beginning. You'll see it. It's ridiculous. Kind of like the subject today. And, it's one of those told you so kind of things. No, I'm not talking about, Russia and Ukraine, the Middle East, anything like that. Inflation, the border, all these things that, I've been talking about. I said we're going to get worse. It's something that really should freak everyone out, at least anyone that actually gives a damn about anything, to include themselves, which means everyone should care because I know everyone, on a certain side of it is just a bunch of narcissistic scummers anyway. Some of them, and it's something that we said was going to happen. And again, people, they call things trivial all they want. It doesn't feel like this affects every single person. Like, this is one of those topics. And sorry for the bandage. I got yelled at. I wasn't allowed to take it off. It's bugging you when you see it on videotape. I went and gave blood, did labs today. But, it really does bug me. And probably bugs me worse just because, so far, I mean, literally, since a certain guy came down, here we go, an escalator all those years ago, like, his followers, and a lot of other people have been called the biggest threat to our democracy. And they've been, calling us that and him that and everything for years. And, it's kind of amazing how no matter what, they keep running to it. And how many people support it and just spit it verbatim like them when we're talking about celebrities, politicians, mainstream media, athletes, musicians, all these people just keep spewing all the talking points and then call all of us parrots. But I really don't care. They can call me whatever they want. I'm a big boy. I'm not going to go and cry about it. But how much they've been supporting the theory that President Trump is the biggest threat to our democracy. Then talking about election fraud is the biggest threat to our democracy. Yeah, January 6th, everything is the biggest threat to our democracy. Not running through all these, spending bills and stuff that President Biden wants to get through. Biggest threat to our democracy. They use it all the time. And I mean, there's more. They call everything. They're like it's normal too, which is really terrifying because just throwing that out there and pretty much calling everyone terrorists and all that is just what do you actually gain from it? What does anyone gain from that? Because sooner or later it all doesn't work. But I mean, Trump supporters, since he came down the escalator, like I said, again, the election, I'm questioning that, even though I swear Hillary's still out there right now saying that it was stolen from her against Donald Trump in 2016. She can still say that, but anyone that questions anything else, even though they quit, is biggest threat to our democracy. And we've heard them say it repeatedly, and it irritates me to no end. But, it's all they did for years and years and still do. But anyone else does it, you're seditious, terroristic threat to our democracy, white supremacist, this, that, and the other. Remember when they said veterans and former police officers, I think they said ex-cops, I'll say former police officers, were the big cog in spreading white supremacy and all that. They said it, not me. White supremacy was the biggest threat. And he's sending thought or anything about COVID, regardless of who or where it comes from. It's the biggest threat to our democracy. Global warming, they said, is our biggest foreign threat. At one point, a big threat to our democracy is global warming. I don't know how that threatens your democracy, but everything threatens our democracy. January 6th, like I mentioned. And they throw everything out there. And the problem is people like me say it. And, sometimes we get thrown off of our YouTube channel. Video doesn't get to show because, apparently it's some big bad thing. See celebrities through Joe Rogan's getting attacked, or just really anyone on the right getting thrown off of social media, being, crucified by the mainstream media. Like it's really, really pathetic. And somehow that's not a threat to our democracy. Like attacking anyone that has a dissenting view from your own is completely okay for democracy. But attacking people, throwing them under the bus, and silencing people is good for our democracy, which last time I checked is the opposite of a democracy. Like I'm just saying, I could be crazy. I am. I know. Tell me about it. But like everything they're saying is a threat, like really isn't. What they're doing by silencing people and doing all that is shutting down any dissenting idea against their own. Yeah, is like a threat to democracy. Like believe it or not, a lot of things they've thrown off, they've now come out and said are actual facts. Like when it comes to COVID and stuff, like, but they still do it. And then we get to this thing, which I mean, I laughed about it when I found out about it. Even though I've always said, Joe, it's just all of them are just commies, really, socialist commies. And now we're really getting closer though into being a surveillance state. And I laughed when Crystal told me about it because I don't remember where we were going. Somewhere. Could have been a doctor's thing. I don't know. Grocery store. Who knows? She was telling me about how she couldn't get onto the patient portal through, naval, because they go to Naval Hospital because Dave's still on active duty, and they couldn't get through there through their phone without pretty much giving them consent to have your whole entire life. And I didn't think about it at all. Like, yeah, that sounds like them. Yeah, I never looked into it. Yeah, because we had a million conversations that day, and I was, on a roll with a bunch of stuff, and there's bigger things happening. And they go, oh, so they got even, they got even more controlling on her own. They're trying to be even scummier. Like, yep. Like, so she can't go on there and make appointments through there or do anything because she refuses to consent to what they want. And don't worry, I wrote it down verbatim what they're wanting everyone to do. And this isn't like proof of giant surveillance state. I don't know what is turning us into like China, who just cranked down on it harder during the pandemic. All the cameras and everything else they got in there. But it didn't really click with me, this whole thing, until last night when I tried to go on e-benefits to look up my thing so I could, get help from Remedical to try to get this whole VA thing finally done and over with. And I guess I'm not going to be getting on there anytime soon because I'm not consenting to it. They can literally suck on one. Not doing it. They are not going to get me on there. Damn shame. I mean, hey, I'll go to the VA office or go somewhere and they can look up all the stuff on their own damn computer and have them surveil every keystroke that they hit. Like, they can have fun with that. I'm not doing it on my phone or on my anything. But hell no. Am I giving them everything? And don't worry, I go through it all in here. It's a very long thing, but all the times when a lot of us, on the right, we're like, what? Turn to a giant commie surveillance state. Like that's all they want, just power, power, power over everything. And no one now, to include Drew, he even said, that's crazy. Like no one can deny that this is absolutely nuts. Like, and think like this is like some Snowden like stuff that he would leak or WikiLeaks would dump or anything. And if it was Donald Trump with the same exact thing on there, which, consent form, which I was on e-benefits before, there was no giant, you consent to let us do everything. I don't care what anyone says. I never saw it. And I was on there many times. Like if it was Trump doing it, though, everyone's head would explode. Like the day he put this in, like the day he even talked about it, like it would be the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. But because of who it is, like no one cares. And they just move. And even Drew saying that's crazy. Like you couldn't find a way to like condone it. You couldn't find a way to do it. He read it and went, wow, that's nuts. Like, yeah, this is actually nuts. I have some like the craziest, I don't know how he turned into one, but lefty out there that I know literally looked at me, ooh, that's actually kind of nuts. Like, yes, thank you. Thank you, God. This is beyond kind of nuts. This is really, really real life nuts. And I'm going to read, like I wrote it down verbatim. It's really, really nuts. But, I figured, as I get called a threat to our democracy all the time, I might as well read something that's actually a threat to our democracy just to see your VA benefits online, like, or to get on the patient portal if you're Crystal to do anything. It's just, it's nuts. But here we go. E-benefits, consent to monitor. You are accessing a U.S. government, which I will for now, call a USG. You are now accessing a U.S. government information system, which I'll be saying IS just for short to clarify that is provided for USG authorized use only. This USG system is intended to be used for authorized VA network users for viewing and retrieving information only, except as otherwise explicitly authorized. By using this IS, which include any device attached to this IS, you consent to the following conditions. That's why I said any device. Remember that part when I'm going through this stuff that is connected, that you hit it on. The USU routinely intercepts and monitors communications on this IS for purposes including but not limited to penetration testing, ComSec monitoring, network operations and defense, personal misconduct, law enforcement, and counterintelligence investigations. At any time, the USG, so the US government, may inspect and seize data stored on this IS. Remember, including information stored, including any device attached to it that you're on, which means they can seize anything from there if it's ever on there. Communications using or data stored on this IS are not private, are subject to routine monitoring, interception, and search, and may be disclosed or used for any USG authorized purpose. This IS includes security measures, e.g. authentication and access controls, to protect U.S. government interests, not for your personal benefit or privacy, so they can do all those things. Notwithstanding the above, using this IS does not constitute consent to, let's get this perfectly right, personal misconduct, law enforcement, or counterintelligence, investigative searching and monitoring of the content of privileged communications or work product related to personal representation by or services by attorneys, psychotherapists, or clergy, and their assistants. Such communications, work product are private and confidential. See user agreement for details. So unless you consent, remember this right there, by using this, which includes any device attached to it. So you're thinking you consent to them, routinely going through stuff, inspect and seize data, which they'd get it from while you're on it, all of that. Because they wouldn't have to maintain and seize any data on their own website. So that's so they can get onto all of your stuff and look at any of it. As you're willing to give them the right to go through, pilfer through all of your stuff, don't give me the, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry thing. I don't give a damn, it's mine. And they don't have to go through or seize any information off of their actual website because it's their actual website and they're the ones making it. So you can't even make that argument. And again, not even Drew started with me. Which should tell you enough right there if you've ever listened to the show and you know exactly what I'm talking about there, because the boy just loves to argue with me. But the line, though, including any device we're accessing the site with, so either consent to that, which they even said, this includes any device attached to it, or you're not allowed to see your benefits online, which means I can't get my stuff for re-medical. There's a lot of things I won't be able to do because I'm not giving you consent to seize whatever the hell you want off of the device that I'm hitting the eBenefits webpage with. I'm not trying to be that guy, but how about no? How about we don't? How about you also stop calling all of us threats and all that? Biggest threat to our democracy since this, they're all biggest threats. They're the biggest threats. They're the biggest threats. They're the biggest threat. Everything is the greatest threat. How about you stop doing that to us when you're literally denying me access, like, or Crystal, to, their patient portal to get the kids, doctor's appointments and stuff. Like, they can't do that. I can't look at my e-benefits unless I give you permission to pilfer through my device whenever you want. Like, last time I checked, that's kind of a vile threat to our actual democracy when you can seize information off of the device where, we connect to check our benefits from, like, and you can do with that whenever you want. I'm sorry, we don't consent to that, so we're not allowed to check my VA benefits, so I could send it to someone for an appeal. Like, that's a threat to our democracy. Like, you shouldn't, like, be like, hey, it's like it, but look what they're doing with, COVID stuff. Whether you get the shot or don't do anything. Now, give me consent to go through whatever device you go to e-benefits through whenever we want, or you're not allowed to get on the system anymore. Give us that, or you can't make appointments or do anything on the patient portal anymore. You have to. It's just to take all the simplicity out of there. And just try to inconvenience you more until you just bend the knee and let them do whatever they want. And no offense, I mean, I'm not anti-vax, I'm not anti-anything. I'm anti-authoritarian, lying, scummy dictator, ignorant, stupid. Like, I'm anti a lot of things. Much as I like the Dead song, anti everything, I am not. I'm anti this. Like, literally give us consent to go seize whatever we want off of your device. I'm sure the site, the amount of time you're on there, if you're on there on, like, your own personal computer, I'm sure they could pilfer through that in like 9 seconds. Take your whole hard drive. Yeah, not the show, but like, just the fact that they can do it. That doesn't bother you. Well, you're also part of the problem. You don't have to like it. I don't care if you like it. But you can't deny it. Because again, even Drew himself responded with, that's crazy. Like, yes, even he thinks it's nuts. That should tell you enough when he's saying that's crazy. But you can't argue anything. I mean, you can try to argue it. I mean, you really, really can, like, argue with me if you'd like. I don't want it to be an argument. I mean, I'm in the mood to argue over this, but this is just common sense stuff. And, like, that's not the way it should be. That's a threat to our democracy. Just give us whatever you want. And I'm sure there's lots of people that don't even read it, just like, screw it and hit the consent thing, who hasn't done that in their life. Like, we have literally all just went, no, screw it. At some point, there's people that don't even realize that they're doing it. And now they're just getting everything taken. It's regardless. Again, they don't do stupid things. Like, they can literally go through everything. I'm sorry. Passwords. I don't want them to have all my passwords and all my everything to everything. Sorry. That's not going to happen. The Father. There you go. Like, that's wrong. That's ridiculous. And, like, no, anyone that, like, the Drews of the world that I send it to and all that, and they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, it is, but where the hell have you been? Which is, the bigger part in this whole entire, conversation. They've been spying on people and doing all kinds of stuff regardless. I mean, remember when they first got in, I don't remember what company it was where they could gain access through your phone just to monitor for illegal activity, whatever it was. I don't remember who it was. I didn't feel like looking, but I do remember after January 6th, like, no warrants or anything, that our dear friends at Capital One, well, I have one of their cards, but God bless them, but they were giving up people's credit card information for anyone that was anywhere near DC in the days around January 6th and inauguration, all that, try to correlate, find people that were there running stuff on their credit card, which is just dumb in general if you're doing that. But without warrants, like, you're not supposed to be able to get that information, but it was happening. And it was straight up happening. They even admitted that it was happening, which they shouldn't be able to do at all. Like, there's been stuff going on where they've just been backdooring or just doing whatever they want and getting stuff on people the whole time. And I'm sorry, that is a threat to people's freedoms and most definitely a threat to our democracy. And I don't know about you, I'm tired of hearing everything under the sun getting called the biggest threat to our democracy, except for the things that are happening that are actually the biggest threats to our democracy. And I'm just going on, you know, these things here. I mean, you can get into trying to federalize elections, which constitutionally is supposed to happen, so they control everything. Like, remind all of that. Those are also threats to our democracy. But where do we get like where does everyone on their side, you know, finally start drawing the line? You know, not even having to agree with us all the time, but just agree that yeah, there's some shady stuff going on that's kind of illegal, and it's like, hey, what? Either you give us consent to do that, or you just can't have anything. Like, I'm sorry, free country, but I can't check my VA benefits unless I give you consent to go through my computer and get whatever the hell you want. Sorry. That's not cool. And heaven forbid if they pull the VA My Healthy Vet website thing, so I can't check like appointment times and refill my prescriptions and stuff. Then you will see me actually. My head will actually explode that day if they ever get to that point. And anyone that knows me, no matter how mad I get, I don't yell at people on the phone, customer service, or you know the VA especially. Like, it's not their fault that everything sucks. Yeah, they're just sadly the people that get their head taken off for all the stupid stuff they do. But the day that they try to take away my VA, like anything, that'll be the day that my like someone's getting yelled at until they get me on the phone with someone that deserves to get the chewing. Because yeah, you could do many things, but stop me from being able to get my medications and do all the things I've been doing for forever because I refuse to like, you know, consent to you stealing all my information and doing all that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that shouldn't even be a conversation that we have to have, is do this or taking away this. Like, that shouldn't even be a thing. Like, it's really terrifying that that's even a thing. That, I mean, literally, like, it's right there, which includes any device to this IS. You could send to, you know, them intercepting and monitoring and inspect and seize data. Like they don't have to, again, on this IS. Well, they're just doing it on the site. Like, it's the VA site. Like, what the hell are they seizing? They can't seize their own data. They're going after everyone else's data, and that is a super threat to our democracy. And we were all right about it. Yeah, at least a lot of us there on the right. Well, it's going to get bad. Well, the Middle East is going to fall apart. The border is going to fall apart. Inflation's going to suck. COVID's going to get worse. Yeah, Russia, China, like all the crazy stuff they're going to do. We're going to start getting spied on and screwed with, just like we did during Obama when they were spying on people illegally. They were doing it all the time, screwing, making it harder for people, you know, to get tax, you know, nonprofit to get exemptions and get all like that were conservative and churches. And all, like, they were doing so much. They're doing it all the time. And somehow we were all told we were crazy for bringing it up and saying it was going to happen again. And now here we are with this. Like, we all already knew it was happening, but including authentication stuff. Like, why the hell do you, like, why do you need that? That's information you can see is right off of there. So you can literally get into everyone's entire life. It's government. You guys know they could do that in about 3 seconds. We all know they have the resources to do it in 3 seconds. And I just hope that at least saying, wow, that's crazy. Like, hopefully that means at least, you know, if his eyes are open a little when he sees it, only that means everyone else's eyes will be open up a little bit if they ever see it, but they'll never see it. You know, they never will, because no one's going to put it on anything that they watch or listen to. But really, that's my final big thought on it. Like, what's it going to take for them to actually, oh, this is happening and they're not covering it? And just to look into stuff further, because this is really happening. Like, it's really on the e-benefits thing. And I mean, literally put to, you know, remember there, you know, this, you know, include security measures, you know, authentication and control to protect U.S. government interests and not for your personal benefit or privacy. So yeah, like, yeah, you have all the stuff to get on there, but screw it, we're just gonna hack into your stuff like the second you go on it, where you could be just snatched up. Like it says there, even the device on it, like, what do they need to do that for? Like, I'm sorry, we're not a surveillance state where if you want to go on here, we can go and do whatever we want on your computer and take whatever we want. That's not who we are as a people. That's not who we are as a country. You know, it just doesn't do any good for anybody. Like it really, really doesn't. And I hope it wakes up, the crazy people out there. I really hope it does because, if they're doing it here, they're doing it. If they're putting it like this blatantly on the like page on their site, like, they're doing it in other places. And again, we do know about January 6th with Capital One when they were just giving over the government information on people that are anywhere near DC and all that. Like, it's illegal unless you have warrants out for like. So sure, they had warrants on a lot of people, but just to go give us anyone that was anywhere near the area, even whether like that's a terrifying thing too, and it should terrify people. I really hope that people wake up because of it, or at least care just a little bit and stop calling everything trivial, because that's one of those things that sooner or later, like they're doing it, that will affect everybody. Who the hell wants the government pilfering in every single thing they do, knowing everything they do, knowing every keystroke that they make? Like, that's not what you do in a democracy. That's actually, a surveillance state, and a democracy, no more, it's a communist state. Like, that's no longer a democracy. So yeah, everything they're doing now is a much larger threat to our democracy, than anything that they're actually calling it. And now it only takes us. The people themselves are going to have to be the ones that stand up against this stuff, because they're just going to keep doing whatever they want. And no matter what, sadly, most of the people on their side, for some reason, are still approving of the guys present and everything going on right now, no matter how many red lights and wee wee sirens and like everything could be going off. So it's going to take us. And tell you what, it comes down to them being able to have access to all my stuff, or getting onto e-benefits, what they can. Sadly, I'm not going to consent to that. So sorry, not sorry to the government, but that's on there. Crystal seen it on their stuff. It's just, I'm sorry. Like, we should be able to access, like we always have, without giving you permission, just pilfer through everything. That's what communists do, which is not what you do in a democracy, which means it's the biggest threat to our democracy. Not sorry. Sorry, I had to read all that verbatim because it's very governmental jargon, but not sorry to them because it needed to be said. But that, I'm going to let it go. Don't forget to like all the videos and share them out. Don't forget, I'm also on Player FM and Tune In as of recently, so you can check it out there on the audio. But please take this one, grab all the audio from all the different platforms: Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Stitcher, like iHeartRadio, Radio Public, Pocket Cast. Like, go on, like, and again, even if you just have the normal, like you have Apple Podcasts on your phone, if you didn't delete it automatically, like Spotify, like, and all the ones on Facebook, like, share them out to get this to grow, to get it to more people, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't even know that they're like doing it, because most people don't have to deal with going on stuff like that. And I'm sorry, but it's kind of important. It's kind of a big deal that they're doing that, and they shouldn't be able to. So, please, please, please share it out. Follow along on the Facebook page. Follow along on all the socials. Or, YouTube, Rumble, if you have them. Right Only, Cloud Hub. Parlor, if you're a weirdo on there. Getter. Like, there's a lot of them. MeWe. Well, MeWe. Like, but follow along on as many of them as you have and you can, and share it up, because that helps everything. So I'm going to stop begging now. But again, enjoy the rest of your day. Be good to each other. Share this out so it gets some more people, because again, I really don't think a lot of people know. Keep this thing growing. I'll be back Friday. So until then, be good to each other. Enjoy the rest of your week. Until then, and peace.